Hello my crafty friends, this is Mary and you're watching Cardz TV, and today starts a new series called Fun Card Folds, and we're going to take different card folds and make some cards. And in the next 4 or 5 videos we'll be doing like S folds, joy folds, gate folds, just different folds for cards, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So today we're going to use Elegant Edges, Paper Doll Dress Up, and one of my Cardz TV stamp sets. This one's called Fall Fun. We're going to use this pumpkin, so we're going to stamp that and do some coloring. And for the inside of the card, we'll be using Awesome Autumn. So I'll get this scooted over out of the way, and we'll get started on this very first fold. And this is going to be an S fold or a Z fold card, one of my favorites. The first thing we're going to do is stamp 2 of these pumpkins. I love this pumpkin. I love anything to do with fall. And I've got my mat to stamp on, and I'm going to put the pumpkin on my Fiskars stamp press. And I'll use some Memento Tuxedo Black ink. There's one. And we need 2 pumpkins, one for the front and one for the inside. And I'm also going to be using some really sharp little cutter bee scissors to cut these out after I've colored them. Now, I've got 2 shades of orange in the Bic markers. I'm going to take Summer Melon first and just fill in these pumpkins. And then I'll take, let's see, Harvest Orange. These are both Bic markers. And I will go around and do just a little bit of shading. And then for the top of my pumpkin, I'm using a Copic. And this is G94 Grayish Olive. So I'll go ahead and get started on the coloring, and I'm not going to have to be real neat or anything with this because, like I said, I'm going to cut these out. So I'm just going to lay down this orange. The only thing is, I don't want to get it up on my stem. Okay, I've got the Summer Melon all colored in, and now I'm going to take this Harvest Orange, and I'm just going to do some shading around the outside, just to give this pumpkin some dimension. And it's going to look pretty messy, but I'll go back over it with the Summer Melon and get this all blended together. Now you can see the shading that I did with the Harvest Orange, and it just defines and really makes the individual parts of the pumpkin show up. Now I'm going to go back over this with the Summer Melon and get all this blended together. Here are my 2 little pumpkins. I've got them on 1 thickness of foam tape, and I took some Tim Holtz Tea Dye Distress ink and just went around the edges to hide the white edges of the pumpkin. And that gave it a little bit of extra shading around the edges as well. Now I'm going to set these aside, and we're going to make the base of our card. So I'll get my scoreboard out. And we're going to be using this really pretty burnt orange. Let me grab my bone folder. And I've cut this at 5.5 by 8.5. We're going to score it at 4 1/4. And this is pretty thick basil cardstock. So 3 times ought to get it. And go ahead and get this folded. Now to make this an S fold or a Z fold, all we do is take this one open edge and go back to the fold with it. And I know I've showed y'all this many times. It's a very simple fold, but it makes a great card. And we'll just give that a nice sharp edge. And we've got our S fold or our Z fold. Now we're going to cover the front flap, the inside flap, and the inside of our card. And for the front flap and the inside flap, we're going to cut 2 pieces the same size. And this is some really cute paper from that Die Cuts with a View rustic stack that I showed you the other day that I picked up at Joann's, and I think it's so pretty and so colorful, and it's got a little bit of glitter on it. But the front panel and the inside panel are both cut at 1 7/8 by 5, so we'll put one there and one on the inside flap. And then for the inside of the card, I've cut another panel at 3 3/4 by 5. Okay, I've got my panels on. I think that's really pretty. I wanted to do something fun though, right on the front panel and the inside. So I got out my paper doll dress up cartridge, and I decided I was going to add a little fence right here and then a little piece of the same fence on the front. So here it is right here on page 78, and I cut this fence at 1 1/4 inches, and I cut two pieces. These are cut out of craft cardstock, and I'm just going to go ahead and put this one right down here. I'm not going to trim it at all because it fits perfectly, but for the front I will trim this one. Okay, I took my tweezer bees and my two-way glue pen, and I got the fence added to the front and to the inside. You can see how that lines up. I think that's really cute. And I'm going to take one of my pumpkins and put right down here on the fence. So I'll take this backing off. There we go. I think that's so cute. And when this is closed, you don't see it. Now for the front and the inside, where I'm going to put the sentiment, I used the Elegant Edges cartridge, and I used this scallop square and scallop oblong, and they're on page 24. For the front, I cut the square at 2 inches, and I also cut the shadow at 2 inches. And here they are. I cut this one using ivory cardstock, and then this is that same burnt orange as the card. I'm going to layer these together, and I took some more of that tea dye distress ink and went around this ivory cardstock. But I'm going to attach this to the front. Now I've put adhesive on only half of this scallop square, and I'm going to attach this to the front right here. And I'm going to take my other pumpkin, which is also on 1 thickness of foam tape, and I'm going to put the pumpkin right there on the front. And then we're going to add the sentiment to the inside. And I don't know if I'm going to add some buttons or not. I'm going to get some and see what it looks like. Love these pumpkins. There we go. That's so cute. And then there's our pumpkin on the inside. Now for the sentiment on the inside, I used this oblong and the shadow, and I cut these at 2 1/4 inches. And once again, I used ivory cardstock and some more of the burnt orange. And for the sentiment from the Fall Fun stamp set, I've stamped Awesome Autumn down at the bottom, and then you can write your name right up here. And if you want to add an extra sentiment, you've got room over here if you wanted to add another piece of ivory cardstock so that you could write a longer sentiment if you needed to. But I've also inked around this with the Tim Holtz Tea Dye Distress ink. And I'm going to add this right over here, and I'm going to get it as close to that edge as I can, so when the card is closed, it won't be seen. Here's my finished S-fold or Z-fold card, and I love the way it turned out. I love the rich colors. I think it's perfect for fall. And I did add a little button up here, and I've crisscrossed some embroidery thread through there and then attached it with a glue dot. There's the front, and then on the inside we have our little fence with another pumpkin, and here's our sentiment, Awesome Autumn. There you go. That's card number 1 in the Fun Card Fold series, and I'll see you again soon with card number 2. Thanks so much for coming by today. Bye now.